Hello friends, welcome back again to my channel. Today we will discuss the second chapter of your textbook Flamingo. The chapter is titled as Lost Spring by Anis Chung. This is part first. We will make another video for part second of this chapter. Our discussion will be divided into three sections. In first section, we will go through a general introduction. In second section, we will read the original text given in your textbook. And in the third section, we will discuss some questions that have appeared in the CBSE papers of previous years. So, let us start our discussion with the general introduction. The chapter is authored by Anis Chung. She was born in Rourkela and received her education in Hyderabad and in USA. Her parents were both writers. Anis Chung began her career as a writer in India. She has been an editor and columnist for major newspapers in India and abroad and has authored several books. This chapter is an excerpt from her book titled Lost Spring: Stories of Stolen Childhood. The theme of this chapter is to discuss the perpetual state of poverty and age-old tradition. How these two things are greatly affecting the life of children in India. Here, two places are discussed. The first is Simapuri and second is Firozabad. Simapuri is a place at the periphery of Delhi. Here, it is a place where rag pickers live. And all these people are poverty stricken. They are in a job, in a profession of picking rags. And one such child which is engaged in rag picking is Sahib Alam. Today we will study the story of Sahib Alam. He is a rag picker from Simapuri. This first part of the chapter is titled as Sometimes I Find a Rupee in the Garbage. The story is revolving around a child whose name is Sahib Alam. He lives in Simapuri. Simapuri is a place which is known for rag picking. It is situated at periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it, because Delhi is the capital of India and which is known for its beautiful buildings, beautiful streets and developed areas. But such things will never be seen in Simapuri. Almost 10,000 rag pickers live there. They are squatters, refugees from Dhaka, Bangladesh. They have come here in search of food. They lost homes and their green fields in Dhaka in storms. In floods, they lost their homes and green fields, and in search of food, they had to migrate from Dhaka to India and then ultimately settled in Simapuri. Before that, Simapuri was a wilderness. For more than 30 years they are living in Simapuri, but the condition is that people do not have their own identity cards or permits, but they have ration cards only to get grain to cook food, because food is more important than identity. Here the important thing is that children is also a part of survival. To provide food to the whole family is very difficult for one person. So all the members of the family, they are to do some or the other job, and job here means only rag picking, because people living in Simapuri, they do not know anything else than rag picking. And children also, they have also been engaged in rag picking. So what rag picking is? Rag picking is that when people are picking some useful things which could be sold from the rags, from the dump of garbage. That is called rag picking. But this rag picking has been transformed into a fine art. It has been made a fine art, given the proportions, given the features of a fine art, which thing is to be picked up and which not. This is the only mean of survival, source of survival for elders. But the meaning of garbage, meaning of dump for children is quite different, because they think that the garbage is wrapped in wonders, because sometimes they find 1 rupee or 10 rupee note in the garbage and they continue their searching, scrounging garbage. Scrounging, a very important word for you people to study. Scrounging means seeking food in garbage. A very derogatory word it is. It is generally associated with the stray animals which feed on the garbage. But here drastically it has been used with these rag pickers. They scroung garbage because they are to feed their families, they are to feed their other members of the family. A very shameful position for we Indians, that such kind of social evils are still surviving in India. The character under our study is one of such rag picker boy. His name is Sahib-e-Alam, which means Lord of the Universe. He doesn't know the meaning of his name even. Lord of the Universe. This is the irony with his name. He is a rag picker from Simapuri. He is scrounging garbage for rupees. Sometimes he find 1 rupee, sometimes 10. He is always barefoot. He is never wearing chappals or shoes. He says that there is a dream in his eyes that sometime he will get shoes for him. He wants shoes. He will receive in this chapter itself. We will know the fact that he is wearing shoes, and which are some discarded shoes of a rich boy, and there is a hole in the sole of a shoe. He is having another wish to play tennis also. The children living in the slum areas are having a lot of dreams with them as well, such like the children of the rich society, but they do not have time, they do not have education, they do not have sources, they do not have money to fulfill these dreams. But the spark is there, spark of life is there. Ultimately, in the last meeting, we will get to know that this boy Sahib comes out of the garbage dumps Simapuri, and now he is working in a tea stall for merely 800 rupees and full meals. All of his meals are given by the tea stall owner. But one thing is missing here, one important thing is missing here, that this child is no more his own master, because earlier he was picking rags, but he was happy because he was not at all controlled by anybody. Now he is under control of the tea stall owner. We will get to know in the chapter that total 4 meetings. In the chapter where we will see that the author met this boy for 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the first meeting, author asked him about his schooling, that he don't go to school. He simply answered that there is no school in his neighborhood. Whenever there will be one, he will go. He asked to join school if author builds one. He is giving his wish. He is posing a question. He is posing a problem before, not only before the author but also before the higher authorities as well, that schooling should be provided to such children of Simapuri and the children living in slum areas. The children are in the second meeting. We will get to know that these children are not wearing chappals. They want shoes. The incident of not wearing chappals by these rag pickers reminds the author another story which was told by some of his friend of a boy of priest's son, who was always reminding the god that he is not having shoes. Please provide me shoes. He is always requesting. His request was granted, and he was provided shoes, but he is again praying. He goes to God, he goes to temple and pray for the safety of the shoes, that God, these shoes may not be lost. In the third meeting, author conveyed as the third wish of Sahib Alam, that is playing tennis. He is watching tennis from the fenced gate. And today, one more thing is noticed, that he was wearing a pair of shoes, tennis shoes, but these are discarded shoes of some rich boy. At least this boy, Sahib, got a pair of shoes. What so if the shoes is having a hole in the bottom, in the sole? At least he is wearing shoes. At least God listened to his prayer as well, and he got a pair of shoes. He requests his wish that sometimes he may play tennis. He admits that he goes into the court when there is nobody. In the last and final meeting, author tells us that now Sahib is working in a tea stall for just a meager amount, 800 rupees. But the important thing is that he is getting all his meals by the tea stall owner. He is having a canister which seems heavier. When asked about it, it seems heavier to this child, because his plastic bag of rag picking was his own, and this canister belongs to the tea stall owner. So the author is trying to depict that now this child is no longer master of his own life. He cannot decide anything for his own life. At least he should be given proper choice to fulfill his wishes, his dreams, and the goal of his life. Friends, this is all about the general introduction of the first part of this chapter. Now we will read the text line by line. We will know all the meanings, and then we will go to the last section. So friends, this is the text of your chapter. Let us read. The title of this section is Sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. This is for Sahib Alam. The chapter starts with the first meeting of a author with the boy and with a question, why do you do this? I ask Sahib, whom I encounter every morning scrounging for gold in the garbage dumps of my neighborhood. Sahib left his home long ago, set amidst the green fields of Dhaka, amidst, in mid of. His home is not even distant memory. He is having a memory of his home when he was in Dhaka. He lost his home, his green fields. There were many storms that swept away their fields and homes, his mother tells him. The stories of storms are told by his mother. That is why they left, looking for gold in the big city. Here, gold means not, not the actual metal gold, but they are here, they are looking for food. In the big city where he now lives, I have nothing else to do. He mutters. He speaks in a barely audible voice, which could hardly be listened. He mutters, I have nothing else to do. The author posed a question before him that he should go to school. I say glibly, realizing immediately how hollow the advice must sound. Hollow, without real significance, without sincerity. I said these words, go to school? There is no school in my neighborhood. And he answered, there is no school in my neighborhood. When they build one, I will go. If I start a school, will you come? I asked, half joking. Yes, he says, smiling broadly. There is a broad smile when he get to know that his first wish could be fulfilled, that such kind of facility could be provided to him by the author, that she will start a school. A few days later, I see him running up to me. Is your school ready? It takes longer to build a school, I said, embarrassed at having made a promise that was not meant. I was very much ashamed that I didn't keep my promise. But promises like mine abound in every corner of his bleak world. But such kind of promises abound, exist in large number in every corner of his bleak world, charmless, cold, and miserable, without happiness world, his life. After months of knowing him, I asked him his name, and his name was Sahibe Alam. He announces he doesn't know what it means. If he knew its meaning, Lord of the Universe. This is the meaning of his name, Lord of the Universe. He would have hard time believing it. Unaware of what his name represents, he roams the streets with his friends, an of barefoot boys. Army of barefoot boys. So many children who are barefoot and picking rags. Like the morning birds and disappear at noon. Over the months, I have come to recognize each of them. Why aren't you wearing chappals? This is the second important meeting between the children, rag pickers, and the author. I ask one, my mother did not bring them down from the shelf. He answers simply. He gave me a simple answer that my mother didn't give me chappals to wear. Even if she did, he will throw them off. Adds another. Another boy said that he will not wear chappals. Who is wearing shoes that do not match? The boy who answered himself wearing shoes that do not match means one shoe is of another pair and one shoe of other. When I commented on it, he shuffles his feet. He tries to hide his feet and says nothing. I want shoes, says a third boy. Another boy among them said that he want a pair of shoes. Who has never owned a pair of shoes all his life? Traveling across the country, I have seen children walking barefoot in cities, on village roads. It is not lack of money, but a tradition to stay barefoot is one explanation. People generally give such kind of explanation that we have a tradition of remaining barefoot. I wonder if this is only an excuse to explain away a perpetual state of poverty. Perpetual, which is never ending state of poverty, means people are poverty stricken and they give some lame excuse, lame explanations for their poverty. I remember a story. Now we will study a story which is of the son of a priest. Here there is a stark contrast between the prayers made by the ragpicker boy, and the prayer made by the son of a priest. We will see the contrast. I remember a story a man from Udupi once told me. As a young boy, he would go to school past an old temple where his father was a priest. He would stop briefly at the temple and pray for a pair of shoes. 30 years later, 30 years later, I visited his town and the temple, which was now drowned and in an air of desolation. Desolation, the state of complete destruction. In the backyard where lived the new priest, there were red and white plastic chairs. A young boy dressed in a grey uniform, wearing socks and shoes, arrived panting and threw his school bag on the folding bed. Panting, breathing heavily. He came panting and threw his bag on the folding bed. Looking at the boy, I remembered the prayer another boy had made to the goddess 30 years before when he had finally got a pair of shoes. Let me never lose them. He made another prayer. That boy 30 years before made another prayer after getting a pair of shoes that these shoes must not lose. The goddess had granted his prayer. But why the goddess is not granting the prayers of ragpickers? Young boys like the son of the priest now wore shoes, but many others like the ragpickers in my neighborhood remain shoeless. This is the sarcastic remark by the author that how such people, such ragpickers does exist in our society who remain barefoot without shoes, without food and need help. My acquaintance with barefoot ragpickers lead me to Simapuri. This is the detail of the visit by the author. A place on the periphery of Delhi, yet miles away from it metaphorically. Metaphorically means in a manner of a metaphor. And what is a metaphor? Metaphor is a figure of speech in which a word or a phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable, means in stark contrast to it. So, metaphorically, it is miles away from it because Delhi is very much known for its shining buildings, beautiful roads, gardens, and development. But here you will not see any such kind of development in Simapuri. Those who live here are squatters, refugees who came from Bangladesh back in 1971. Sahib's family is among them. Simapuri was then a wilderness, neglected place, abandoned area. It still is, but it is no longer empty. But now it is not empty because in Simapuri, rag pickers are living there. Almost 10,000 rag pickers live there. In structures of mud with roofs of tin and tarpaulin, devoid of sewage, drainage, or running water. Everywhere you will see garbage, sewage, drainage. Like 10,000, live 10,000 rag pickers. They have lived here for more than 30 years. For last 30 years, they are living there without an identity, without permits, but with ration cards that get their names on voter list and enable them to buy grain because food is more important than this identity. Food is more important for survival than an identity. If at the end of the day we can feed our families and go to bed without an aching stomach, we would rather live here than in the fields that gave us no grain. It is better to live here because here we can at least feed our children. This is the wording of a lady. Say a group of women in tattered, old and torn saris. When I asked them why they left their beautiful land of green fields and rivers, wherever they find food, they pitch their tents that become transit homes. Transit temporary, which could be transferred from one place to other. So wherever they get food, they pitch their tents. They establish their tents. Children grow up in them, becoming partners in survival. This is very important. Children are partners in survival, means living. If they also want to survive, they will have to be a partner. They will have to work. And work here in Simapuri means rag picking. And survival in Simapuri means rag picking. Through the years, it has acquired the proportions, the characteristics, the features of a fine art. Now, picking rags is also a kind of fine art. Garbage to them is gold. It is their daily bread, food, a roof over their heads, even if it is a leaking roof. But for a child, it is even more. For a child, if there is a home, even though it is leaking, it is there. I sometimes find a rupee, even a 10 rupee note, Sahib says, his eyes lightening up. When you can find a silver coin in a heap of garbage, you don't stop scrounging, seeking, for there is hope of finding more. It seems that for children, garbage has meaning different from what it means to their parents. Both are having different kind of meaning for garbage. Parents think that garbage is the means of survival, source of survival. If they want to survive, if they want to live, they need the picking of rags from the garbage. But for children, it is wrapped in wonder, it is covered in wonders. For the elders, it is a means of survival. One winter morning, I see Sahib standing by the fenced gate. Another wish is there in the mind of this child, Sahib, and the wish is to play tennis game, which we know that will not be fulfilled anyhow. Standing by the fenced gate of the neighborhood club, watching two young men dressed in white playing tennis. I like the game, he says. I like the game, he hums. Content to watch it standing behind the fence. He is standing behind the fence and contently, regularly watching at the game. I go inside when no one is around. He admits he admits that he goes into the he goes into the court of tennis whenever there is nobody. The gatekeeper lets me use the swing chance. The gatekeeper gave gave me the chance to go into the court. Sahib too is wearing tennis shoes that look strange over his discolored shirt and shorts. Someone gave them to me, he says in a manner of an explanation. When the author looked at his shoes, the explanation was that someone gave them to me, he says in the manner of an explanation. The fact that they are discarded shoes of some rich boy may have discarded them, who perhaps refused to wear them because a hole in one of them doesn't bother him. It doesn't bother him that one of the shoe is having a hole in it, hole in the sole. For one who has walked barefoot, even shoes with a hole is a dream come true. It is just like a dream for this little boy Sahib to wear shoes, and which has come true even though it is with a hole. But the game he is watching so intently is out of his reach. This morning, one other meeting, the last one for today's discussion. This morning, Sahib is on his way to the milk booth. In his hand is a steel canister. I now walk in a tea stall down the road, he says, pointing in the distance. I am paid 800 rupees. 800 rupees and all my meals. Does he like the job? I ask. When the author asked him, does he like the job? His face, I see, has lost the carefree look. Now he is somehow under stress because he is working under the tea stall owner. The steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag he would carry so lightly over his shoulders. The bag was his. The matter is that the bag was his own, but the steel canister belongs to the tea shop owner. The canister belongs to the man who owns the tea shop. Sahib is no longer his own master. The story of Sahib ends here, and the author has posed before us an open-ended question that is Sahib his own master? I think it should be answered in the negative, that he is no more, because he is working under the tea shop owner. He is no more his own master. So is the look on his face. Carefree look is no more on his face. So this is all about the text for this first part of the chapter. Now we will see some questions that have appeared from this first part in the previous year's CBSE question papers of outside Delhi All India Senior School Certificate Examination. So friends, these are the questions from CBSE question papers. Question number 1. Garbage to them is gold. Why does the author say so about the rag pickers? The question appeared in All India CBSE 2008 and again in 2019 in set 1 to 1. For 2019, there were 5 sets of question paper. 1 1 1, then 1 2 1, and 1 3 1, and 1 4 1, and 1 5 1. And for all those papers, there were 3 sets: 3 for this one, 3 for this one, 3 for this one, and 3 for this one, and 3 for this one also. 1 2 3 means For suppose to talk about this 1 5, there were 3 sets: 151, 152, and 153, like this. There were 15 papers for different reasons. The answer for this question is, we have studied all the facts from the chapter. We have studied the mind map. Before going to the answers, please stop the video here. Go through the mind map again 2 or 3 times so that you may revise all the facts. You may have all the facts in your mind to answer these questions. So the answer is, garbage for the rag pickers of Simapuri is their daily bread. If they will go to picking up garbage, then they will get their food. Sometimes they find a 10 rupee or a silver coin. For elders, it is a means of survival, while it is wrapped in wonder for the children. Next question is, what did garbage mean to the children? We have recently discussed. Children of Simapuri and to their parents, there are 2 different meanings for the parents and for the children. For the parents, for the elders, garbage is means of survival, and for children it is wrapped in wonder. They expect to get a coin, gives them the hope of finding more. You see, students, how easy these questions are if you have gone through the facts of the chapter, if you have gone through the mind map of the chapter, if you have gone through the theme of this chapter. These facts, these themes, and the summary of the chapter through mind map, if these things are in your mind, you will easily score high. What does the reference to the chappals in Lost Spring tell us about the economic condition of the rag pickers? First thing is that they were poor rag pickers. The poor rag pickers have no money to buy chappals. Children are also engaged in earning as rag pickers. They are partners in survival. The life of people is hand to mouth. They have been exploited. They have no work to do except rag picking. Even no house to live in. All this is because of negligence and apathy of affluent people in society. Next question is, for the children it is wrapped in wonder, for the elders it is means of survival. What kind of life do the rag pickers of Simapuri lead? What kind of life people are having in Simapuri? Some points are there. These answers, these points actually are taken from the answer key of CBSE. You should keep it in mind that these are the sample answers, value points suggested by CBSE in the actual answer key. Value points are the life of misery and perpetual poverty. They live in structures of mud with a roof of tin and tarpaulin. There is a lack of opportunities like education. Simapuri is devoid of sewage, drainage, or running water. The people in the Simapuri have only ration cards that get their names on voter list and enable them to buy grains because food is more important than identity. Rag picking is prime occupation, their daily bread. If they are going regularly for the rag picking, then they are getting daily bread. One rupee note or coin in garbage sustains hopes, happiness, thrill among the children of Simapuri. CBS has specially mentioned that any other relevant point could also be in your answer. Any 3. any 3 points are required for 6 marks. Means for every accurate point you will get 2 marks. 3 points you have to mention out of all these or some other relevant point. Again, next question is, Simapuri, a place on the periphery of Delhi yet miles away from it, metaphorically explain. The question appeared in CBSE 2019 set first. We have already discussed it. The value point suggested by CBSE is situated at the outskirts of Delhi, periphery. Simapuri is a place that is inhabited by 10,000 rag pickers and it is situated at the periphery, at the outskirts of Delhi. It stands a contrast to it. Inhabited by refugees from Dhaka, and they all are rag pickers. They have nothing else to do, so they have adopted rag picking as profession. Even children are partners in survival, and place lacks basic amenities. The place Simapuri lacks basic amenities. There are no basic amenities for the children and the people living there. Running water could be seen there, drainage system total failure there, mud houses are there with tarpaulin and tin roofs, while on the other hand, if we see Delhi, a city of all comforts, rich, well off inhabitants, all such things are supposed to be in Delhi everywhere, but in Simapuri no such thing is available. We already have discussed all these points in our discussion. So next question is, what kind of life did children living in Simapuri? What kind of life? The life of a rag picker, because they are partners in survival. Just we have discussed earlier. So let us go through the value points suggested by CBSE. They are migrants from Dhaka. They are rag pickers, scrounging garbage in the dumps. They are partners in survival, have no access to schooling. They are living a miserable life. They live in squalid condition, barefooted, yet retain childhood innocence, a sense of wonder, carefree children. All these things, all these points we have discussed. So next is, describe the irony in Sahib's name. Yes, we have discussed this question as well. The name of the child under discussion is Sahib. Full name is Sahib-e-Alam. The meaning of his name is Lord of the Universe. But the contrast is that he is a rag picker. He lives as a deprived, poor rag picker, roaming the streets barefoot. This is the condition. Means these two things are quite contrary. One is the name and one is the life. The name is Lord of the Universe and the life is of a rag picker, barefoot rag picker. This is the irony. Next question is, what change did Sahib feel working at the tea shop? What change? He is no longer happy because he is no longer his own master. He has lost his carefree look. He earns 800 rupees and all his meals earned rupees 800, but lost his freedom. He found that the steel canister is heavier than his plastic bag, and at the back end call of the tea stall owner. He is now under tea stall owner. Here the question is of only 3 marks, and CBSE suggests that only 2 points out of all these suggested points are quite sufficient to score 3 marks. 2 points for 3 marks means 1 point is equal to 1.5 mark. And the last one for our discussion is describe the life led by the migrants from Bangladesh who are living in Simapuri. We have made a lengthy discussion now that the people, the migrants from Bangladesh who are living in Simapuri, they are living a life of a rag picker. They live in structures of mud, roofs of tin and tarpaulin. The place Simapuri is devoid of sewage, drainage or running water. There lives almost 10,000 rag pickers without identity or permits. They have only ration cards to get grains. A life of a squalor devoid of all basic amenities. Such kind of life people are living there in Simapuri, and they are the migrants from Bangladesh, Dhaka, when their green fields and homes were swept away by the storms. So friends, this was all about the chapter. Its whole summary, text reading, and the questions and their answers, the questions that have appeared in the CBSE examinations. I hope that you have acquired a good knowledge of this chapter. You will be able to answer the CBSE questions, and I present my sincere thanks for being with me. Thank you. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.